In this video, I'm going to react to the strangest weather events in US history. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. This is the place where I react to music, media, sports, anime, anything related to popular culture. I watch it with an open mind and give you my 100% honest reaction to it. And if you could please hit that like button early, I'd really appreciate it. Now, this is going to be genuinely fun because the US, as everybody knows, is a huge country full of a huge diversity of climates. You've got the heat of Arizona and Nevada, and you've got the cold of Alaska. You know, you've got you've got mountains there. You've got, you know, the Grand Canyon. You've just got such a variety of different climates and landscapes and things like that. And when it comes to weather, particularly extreme weather, I think you guys probably have the biggest variety of that as well. You know, from hurricanes to tornadoes to earthquakes. And I've always wondered if there's a video out there, you know, that actually has the sort of the 10 most extreme examples of US weather. So when I was recommended this video, I think it was about 3 weeks ago, I just knew I had to get to it quickly because this is precisely what I was looking for. So let's go. This is going to be me reacting to the strangest weather events in US history. Let's do it.
From sudden bouts of darkness to tornadoes filled with flames and creatures falling from the sky.
What?
Today we look at the strangest weather events in US history.
Tornadoes filled with flames. I mean, I've seen tornadoes with like thunder and lightning, but like fire, I've never seen that.
Number 10. Coldest day. Throughout 2019, the Midwest United States experienced some extremely chilly temperatures, with places like Detroit experiencing minus 14-degree weather, Milwaukee dropping to 21 below zero, and Chicago somehow surviving negative 23 degrees Fahrenheit. In comparison to the history of the U.S., though, these temperatures are
minus 23 degrees Fahrenheit. That's around minus 10, I think, or minus 12 degrees Celsius. That's colder than anything I've experienced. That's freezing cold.
far from the worst experienced by Americans. The coldest day ever recorded on U.S. soil was January 23, 1971, when the people of Prospect Creek, Alaska, endured a terrifying temperature of minus 80 degrees. When it comes to the lower 48 states, the coldest day came on January 20th, 1954, when Rogers Pass, Montana dropped to 70 degrees below zero. Number 9. Locust Plague. Being a Midwest farmer in the late 19th century had its fair share of obstacles. No modern machinery to work with, fickle soil and weather conditions, and most likely way more physical labor than most people could handle on a daily basis. So imagine how much worse it got for American farmers in 1874 when a swarm of locusts blanketed the sky before diving down on their crops. These insects rained down on the Midwest in droves, with historians estimating their number.
I feel like is a swarm of locusts. I think that's one of the isn't that one of the signs of the apocalypse or something like that? I feel like it is. A swarm of locusts. Yeah, I feel like I've heard that somewhere.
To be anywhere between 124 billion to 12.5 trillion. As they cut a path nearly 1,800 miles long and 110 miles wide, these pesky bugs devoured everything from sugar-concentrated crops to wooden tools, leather accessories, and even clothes right off the backs of bystanders.
No way.
Their impromptu invasion ended up causing many families to suffer and even perish as starvation became a hazard to those in the area that would become the Dust Bowl. While farm animals like chickens did their part in eliminating the pest by simply eating them, the danger of locust invasion didn't pass until the Rocky Mountain grasshopper went extinct at the turn of the century.
Wow.
Number 8. Black Sunday.
I wonder what caused their extinction. Some kind of pathogen maybe, or something like that in the air?
Speaking of the Dust Bowl, the dust-swept and drought-ridden region of the Midwest began its desolate transformation one fateful day, now referred to as Black Sunday. On April 14, 1935, a storm fell on the prairies of the Midwest, beginning in Oklahoma and Texas. Starting at 4 p.m., winds clocking in at 60 miles per hour swept along the plains, forming a black cloudy wall as they hurtled on. This effect came from loose dirt in the arid region, twisting and obstructing the vision of those who witnessed the storm. Reports at the time believed the anomaly to signal the end of days, as the blinding dust storm kept those outside from being able to see their hand in front of their face.
Wow.
The weather event blinded one man and had fatal consequences for small animals like...
It blinded somebody. Oh my gosh. Permanently? Oh. I mean, dude, you would not want to be driving in these conditions, man. If you can't see your hand in front of your face, there's no way you should be driving.
Like birds and rodents, as it rose thousands of feet into the air and stretched for hundreds of miles. This frightening phenomenon went on to inspire Congress to pass the Soil Conservation Act by the end of the year in hopes of avoiding such an occurrence from happening again. Number 7. Satan's Storm. On June 15, 1960, the residents of Copperell, Texas began their morning as normal with a typical early temperature of just around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. But in mere minutes, the warm desert air rose to an unbearable 100 degrees Fahrenheit out of nowhere. The sudden skyrocket in heat caused thermometers to burst, according to anecdotal accounts.
100 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me check here. 100 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius is 37.7 degrees Celsius. Whew.
People experienced power failures and false alarms as they awoke thinking something must be on fire. The National Weather Service unofficially reports that the temperature continued rising until it topped out at 140 degrees Fahrenheit and remained there for 3 hours straight. Eventually, the heat subsided, leaving farmers to investigate the level of damage wrought by the sudden heat wave. In its wake, people found that some cattle perished under the infernal sun, while corn and cotton cooked off the crop, ruining entire fields of vegetation. This event earned the name of Satan's Storm during its time. But today, we know the extreme switch in temperature to be a heat burst. These are caused from a thunderstorm rising and being pushed back down to the surface, leading the air below to become compressed and extremely hot. Number 6. Tornado Tantrums. Tornadoes plague the Midwest almost annually, and at times more than one can touch down in a given place. But on April 3rd and April 4th in 1974, a flood of tornadoes spread across multiple states in the Ohio Valley, causing over $1 billion, adjusted for inflation, in damage, and claiming the lives of 335 people in the process. An astounding 148 twisters tore into the U.S., with some reaching a circumference of 5 miles wide. Then again in 2011, from April 25 to April 28, another flurry of tornadoes ravaged America, hitting as far north as Pennsylvania and New York, and reaching down to the deep south. As warm air at the ground level collided with the colder airs above, and atmospheric wind shears moved in, these catastrophic disasters left their mark on populated areas repeatedly throughout the 3-day span.
Like, I couldn't believe, like, there was a tornado video that I watched fairly recently, maybe 2 months ago, where there was literally a pickup truck in the air, like just being suspended in the air by this tornado. I didn't think that tornadoes were that powerful. Like, literally seeing like a 3-ton truck being just held up by wind just blew my mind.
This time, 349 twisters took the lives of over 300 people and caused $10.8 billion in damage. Number 5. Dark Day. In the 18th century, meteorology wasn't anywhere near as exact or capable of explaining weather-related phenomena the way it is today. So it's no wonder that accounts of the day when the sky went dark on May 19, 1780 are so superstitious and foreboding. Following right on the tail end of the American Revolution, the newly founded nation was already tense. So when the sun turned red, black rain fell from the sky carrying the scent of coal fire, and the population had to rely on candlelight in the middle of the day to see, you can understand how frightened Americans might have felt. Rather than any sort of Armageddon or Judgment Day, this scary ordeal can be attributed to a forest fire in the Ontario forest. The origin of the legendary Dark Day in New England wasn't discovered until 2007, when forestry experts out of the University of Missouri discovered fire scars in the woods of Ontario corresponding to that date. Number 4. Raining fish. We've all heard the saying, it's raining cats and dogs. But in 1947, the age-old phrase became reality, with a bit of an aquatic twist. As the population of Marksville, Louisiana left their homes on October 23rd that year, no forecast could have prepared them for the downpour that was to come. According to the Library of Congress, inhabitants of the southern town experienced a torrential shower that brought not only raindrops, but several fish as well.
What?
These accounts weren't the hoax they might seem to be, as the meteorological phenomenon known as raining animals has occurred many times across the planet, and throughout history. Flightless creatures like spiders, frogs, octopus, and even jellyfish have been reported from China to Honduras over the last 2 centuries.
How? Like, how does this happen? Maybe if there's like a really, really violent storm and perhaps a lot of, I can't even think, what would make fish, because it's not like, I don't know.
While the cause of such an event has never been witnessed, the prevailing theory as to what causes such groups of animals to be displaced attribute the phenomena to waterspouts and updrafts. Waterspouts are the weaker of the 2 hypothesized sources, as the water-based tornadoes capable of flinging objects along the water at high speeds fail to suck up anything in their path. Updrafts, on the other hand, are strong winds that could more feasibly sweep up entire communities of animals before sending them plummeting to the earth below.
Wow.
The last accounts of raining animals in the U.S. took place in 2007, as worms rained onto Jennings, Louisiana, and in September 2016, and again in May of 2017, when fish drizzled down into Philadelphia,
This can't be real, surely. No way.
Pennsylvania, and Oroville, California, respectively. Number 3. Soil cyclone. Tropical cyclones form on the coast of the United States with semi-regularity, fueled by the heat energy they gather from the warmth of the ocean. As they move inward towards land and leave the ocean energy behind, they typically dissipate, and the thunderstorm that trails them overhead will disperse and fizzle away. But recently, studies have shown that not all cyclones fall apart so quickly, a point proven in 2007 with Tropical Storm Erin. As the cyclone entered Texas that August, it infiltrated the Lone Star State with wind speeds measuring a measly 40 miles per hour. However, within 3 days, the tropical storm continued to flourish, growing surprisingly strong by the time it reached Oklahoma. In fact, it more than doubled in wind speed from the time it touched land, and even eclipsed the strength of the cyclone.
Gosh, that thing is massive. I mean, look at this. This looks like a fishing boat or something like that, which is, quite a large vessel, and it is just tiny compared to the size of this cloud here.
At its peak while over the Gulf of Mexico. But how could such an anomaly be possible if no water warmth was present to keep the cyclone swirling? Moist soil, as new discoveries have shown, can substitute for ocean water if breached at the right temperature and hydration levels. Referred to as the brown ocean effect, this abnormality gave Tropical Storm Erin a longer life than meteorologists could have ever predicted at the time. Number 2. Fire tornado. During the Carr Fire event of 2018, one of the most terrifying weather anomalies of U.S. history occurred when the largest fire tornado ever recorded took shape. Wildfires are all too common in the Golden State, but this specific fire was so massive, the resulting gases formed a pyrocumulus cloud above the raging inferno.
Wow.
This fire-crafted thunderstorm helped turn a commonly known fire whirl, which were thought to hit a maximum speed of 90 miles per hour, into a monstrous cyclone of cinder and ash. As the flames blazed on, winds within the tornado reached a speed of 143 miles per hour, rewriting the capabilities and hazards of such natural disasters. This incident was one of only 2 F3 tornadoes ever recorded in California, the other 2 spawning from a fiery event in 1926. Due to the size and severity,
Wow, look at the thickness of it. Like, it's just so pronounced when you, in contrast to the surrounding, clouds here. Unless this whole thing is the tornado, which would be freakishly large and wide.
This one, and the fact that it claimed 1 casualty, this fire tornado is one of the most monumental weather events of all time. Number 1. Summerless Year. Also known as the Poverty Year, 1816 was the year without a summer, when temperatures all across the northern hemisphere remained frigid year-round, even through July and August. New England reported record-late snowfalls, experiencing heavy weather as late as June 11th. In the south, cities like Savannah, Georgia only reached 46 degrees Fahrenheit on the 4th of July. Much of the U.S. experienced a drought that same year in early fall, and winter weather started right back up by September. This freezing year was the result of an eruption in 1815 from Indonesia's Tambora volcano halfway around the world.
So, if there's no summer, there's no a crop growing season, is there? Oh my gosh, life in that year must have been really, really hard, because you're probably relying on, imports from the southern hemisphere, right? Because I imagine, most of the northern hemisphere, their ability to harvest crops just completely devastated.
The ash and dust of the eruption filled the stratosphere for the next year, blocking sunlight across the northern hemisphere, which ended up cooling that portion of the planet.
Wow. Some really, really, really scary stuff there. I mean, a year with no summer. Imagine how bizarre that would be. I mean, just having a few different seasons, you know, most places have all 4 seasons. It's so ingrained in us as human beings. You know, you expect that at one point it's going to be really cold, at one point it's going to be quite warm, at one point it's going to be really mild. So to have a year where it's just cold all year, I mean, some places on Earth, I imagine, are like that all the time, you know, maybe places like Antarctica. But even then, I'm sure that they have some months where it's a little bit warmer. So yeah, that was a really scary one. The tornado with the fire in it as well. Imagine witnessing that. Really, really scary too. Really fun video. Really enjoyed this video. It gave me a lot to think about. I mean, yeah, very interesting indeed. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and keep throwing the recommendations my way. I know I say it all the time, but they genuinely help me out, because if I know you enjoyed watching something, I'll definitely enjoy reacting to it. So like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, keep throwing the recommendations, and I'll catch you in the next one.